I'm taking a little bit of a different approach here. You guys picked two teams that absolutely sucked and should be better. Potentially, in a dream season, you're competing for a wild card. I'm taking the Houston Texans, who, as I said, maybe there's not a more hyped up team outside of Green Bay this year, because Green Bay or Houston as the most anticipated team heading into 2024. CJ Stroud is on this media tour. He sounds confident. He sounds like a future star in the NFL, like a potential face of the NFL. We talked about the players. They swapped out some guys on defense this offseason, but I don't think, and Ziggy, you're not going to give it credit. You haven't, I don't think you gave it the fair credit. Swapping Bernard for Danielle Hunter with the Vikings, I believe, is actually a huge upgrade. Danielle Hunter had 16 and a half sacks last year. Dude's an absolute monster. We've watched him for so many years. There was no one on that Viking defensive line with him. To now pair him and Will Anderson Jr., I think that's going to be an absolute nightmare for AFC quarterbacks, because you can't double both of them, and those two guys are absolute studs. I love that. The other thing was, as great as the offense was, they started and ended the year in Baltimore with two pretty lopsided losses, two pretty embarrassing offensive performances. 9 week 1, put up 10 points in the divisional round. The Ravens have a great defense. There needs to be a little bit more than just tank down Nico Collins. You bring in an alpha like Stefon Diggs, and you guys are slandering Joe Mixon, but dude still had over 1,000 yards last season. He's an upgrade from their 22nd ranked rushing attack. Okay, I'd rather have Joe Mixon than the slew of running backs they had last season. I look at Houston and I say this team they swung for the fences, and it could come crashing down hard. But there's so much talent that I think the Texans are, I had them at 8 in my power rankings. Like, to think that they'd be 8 in the power rankings after last year, after a year ago, it's crazy. So I have Houston as my most improved.
I don't like Diggs on this team that much.
I don't understand why people have that opinion. And
because he was terrible after week 6. That's why.
Well, he was bad. Yeah, he was bad. I mean, he's just a dude who demands the ball. This team has good mojo with these young kids.
Yeah, you're in the Diggs honeymoon phase, though. The Diggs honeymoon phase is a great time to have him on your team.
But this is with 2 teams now. He's become a little diva.
So I'm not worried about the diva stuff, really. I'm worried about the fact that Stefon Diggs, for more than half of last year, was not a good wide receiver.
Didn't the usage go completely down as well?
Even when the usage was high, there was, again, since week 6, people say, look at the coordinator. Look at the splits before week 6 and after week 6. The dude was terrible.
I think when CJ Stroud throws incomplete balls to Nico Collins and Tank Dell, Diggs will be on the sideline in his ear yelling at him. I hate that. So I think this chemistry and mojo they had last year should continue without Stefon Diggs.
Stefon Diggs, he can become a diva, but he's not a locker room cancer.
I think he messes things up. I think he messes up the mojo.
He's been to since he was with the Vikings. He went to the NFC Championship game. He went to the divisional round. His teams are in the playoffs every single year.
And then how many yards is he getting?
He also was terrible the last 10 games last year.
I understand that he performed poorly down the stretch, and he is on the wrong side of 30.
31.
He's 30 years old. He's on the wrong side of 30, but I'm not. I think there's more juice to Stefon Diggs.
He demands targets.
I guarantee you guys, Stefon Diggs goes over 1,000 yards.
I think he's just swiping. I think he's swiping targets from up and coming superstars.
It would have been nice to see him go. If he's going to go over 1,000 yards, it would have been nice to see him go over 100 yards once after.
I understand that he played poorly down the stretch, I do. But Buffalo started leaning into the run game at the end of last season. I understand that he didn't play well, but if you ask me, do you want Stefon Diggs or not on your team? I'm going to say yes.
Yeah. I'm just saying, week 12, week 12, week 13, right? 2 back-to-back weeks of a bye in the middle. He got 22 targets. He put up less than 100 yards across both weeks combined.
What were his stats in those games?
It was 6 receptions, 74 yards, and a touchdown. And then 4 receptions, 24 yards, 0 touchdowns.
All right, that's a bad game. But I'm not at 74 yards and a touchdown is a fine game.
Yeah, he's a mojo messer.
I'm just saying, you're saying it's usage. The man got 22 targets and couldn't put up 100 yards.
On 90% of NFL teams, I'd say, yeah, when Stefon Diggs, not the Texans.
All right. Well, let us know in the comment section what you think. Would you want Stefon Diggs on your team? I can't I can't.
I'm saying 90% of teams would.
If I'm Antonio Brown.
If I'm the Texans, I would not.
Antonio Brown comes in and he is a massive distraction. Stefon Diggs is like best friends with Josh Allen.
If my Steelers right now were in the Texans situation with CJ Stroud and these young stud receivers,
thrilled.
I would not want Stefon Diggs.
Jeez. All right. So
I want AB back.
When Noah Brown or Nico Collins or Tank Dell, all of whom have had injury concerns, when one of them goes down and you have no third option on that offense. I mean, you have Dalton Schultz at tight end, but
they won't have a third option with Stefon Diggs.
He'll be complaining in Stroud's ear, and Stroud's like,
let us know in the comment section. Would you want Stefon? I think you guys are just doing this to mess with me.
No, he's gonna make Stroud anxious, uncomfortable.
We'll go on to our mailbag here. We got some questions, and remember, if you become a member, you could go to our homepage on the channel, click join. You can become a member. Any comment you leave, it's not technically a rule, but I guess we made it a rule that we'll read anything you write, barring anything ridiculous.
You'll get a question answered. If you leave 20 questions, we might not answer all of them. But you'll get a question answered.
So you can go and join for $5, $4.99 a month, I believe it is, on the homepage. And we appreciate everyone there have been a lot of members. Zach's been pushing for it because he really wants to quit his 3 a.m. wake up job. I think it's like 2:30.
He's asleep right now.
So, all right, let's start at the mailbag here from one of our members. Yeah, here it is. From Butt Pounder 420, he says, make the case for and against Eli Manning getting into the Hall of Fame. It's pretty easy to me to make the case, to make either case. But in terms of for, and I do think Eli Manning should be a Hall of Famer, we are talking about someone who's number 10 all-time in passing yards, number 10 all-time in passing touchdowns, started 222 straight games. It's two-time Super Bowl champion and MVP, beat the greatest team potentially ever. Those are the accolades for Eli Manning. I know we're in an era where we throw the ball more, and that's why you have, Matt Ryan is in your top 10. Kirk Cousins could end up in top 10 of these stats. But Eli Manning was a good quarterback for a long time. I don't think there was many stretches where you feared Eli. There were a few, but there's 2 Super Bowls. If you take away the Super Bowls, you're probably not talking about a Hall of Famer, but with them, I think he gets in.
I legitimately can't think of a reason not to put him in the Hall of Fame.
Well, it's because he's made the playoffs 6 times in his career and was a 4-time Pro Bowler and never made.
He was a 500 quarterback.
Yeah, never made an All-Pro.
Yeah, but he beat the best ever twice in 2 Super Bowls.
Oh no! Again, that's why I would put him in.
Yeah, no, I mean this is the thing. Like it's like the SEC. It just means. Like, I get it. People want to say over his career, was he that good? Was he ever the best quarterback in the NFL? No. But 2 runs with 2 of the most iconic plays in NFL history. I mean, you could argue the helmet catch is the most iconic play in NFL history. That's right him in a huge moment in the seat. Like, it's up there. No one can say it's not in terms of impact, in terms of moments. And when you've got a guy who's doing that, and he's a Manning, the last name doesn't hurt.
Manning name means something.
I probably, if I were building a Hall of Fame, I'm not sure I'd put him in. But, it's the Hall of Fame. It's not the Hall of how good you are as a player. And Eli Manning deserves the fame.
Fame-wise, yes, he is. That's a good point.
Also, look at that path in that one Super Bowl he went on to. Like, he won at Green Bay.
I mean, both of them. They went on the road the whole way.
Yeah.
No, I mean those were 2 all-time runs.
All-time runs, yeah. And he was sensational. He didn't get carried on those runs. Eli Manning was amazing. I mean, think about the second Patriots win, the throw to Manningham. As great as the Tyree play was, a lot of luck involved there. And Tyree, insane catch. The Manningham throw and catch was, one of the best you'll see, especially given the moment. Now, guys like Phillip Rivers, Matt Ryan, take away Super Bowls, probably better careers than Eli, but
you see, honestly, I think Rivers is probably a better quarterback than Eli.
Oh, yeah, I mean, Rivers,
but
no, it's not close. Rivers was a much better quarterback.
But it doesn't matter. Rivers, but Eli won.
Super Bowls matter.